I never thought I'd have to make this video. So recently, as you might all know, YouTubers like CypherPK, Kiwis, and Random have posted videos about everything wrong with Fortnite and the Fortnite community right now, including Epic Games' decision making and how they're just not running Fortnite the way it should be run. And it really sucks for someone like me trying to grow off of Fortnite right now. I've been grinding, I've been uploading on my main channel and on a clan channel, helping my friends out, and I've been trying to grind on Fortnite, trying to get better, and I've been having a lot of fun. I have found a squad that I've really enjoyed playing with. All of a sudden, Rip Fortnite is trending on Twitter. Like, what? Why is Rip Fortnite trending on Twitter? And it turns out that all of these pro players, I'm not trying to help out Epic here, what they're doing, we'll get to that later, but all these professional Fortnite players that are successful because of Fortnite, like Tfue, he still makes a lot of money by making Fortnite videos. And all he does is just complain about the game, and that doesn't help situations like that. And like I said, I've been enjoying Fortnite. I haven't been playing in the competitive tournaments. I've actually been playing a lot of arena though, and it's been pretty fun, and I don't know why it's that big of a deal. I think the biggest problem right now is just the communication. I think that's what's going wrong, and all these other YouTubers have touched on this, and this video is inspired by them. But communication is such a big deal when it comes to a game like Fortnite, and we've seen that, and Epic has been doing a terrible job at communicating. Now, their supporters and fans, sometimes when they do communicate, Epic gets a lot of hate, which you're gonna get no matter what. And so I don't really understand why Epic just decided that they wouldn't communicate at all anymore. And they need to do something about this whole Rip Fortnite and thank you Epic trending on Twitter. What they need to do is they need to take out skill-based matchmaking, which I definitely agree with, because I haven't been having fun in pubs. I'll mention that. I haven't been having fun in pubs nearly as much as arena, because they're basically the same thing, except pubs are harder than arena now. Just let that sink in. Pubs are harder than arena. Pubs used to be the place where YouTubers could make random duos videos and random squads videos, and it used to be the place where people would have fun when they're not trying to go full sweat and they're not trying to play arena, basically, is in pubs. And that's the reason they came out with arena, and that was a great idea for people that want to sweat and get better. That's what arena's made for. But they've turned pubs into something worse than arena. Ever since they brought out skill-based matchmaking, it's been your first maybe 10 games if you're lucky. You'll be getting like easy wins, easy kills, and then after that you just hit a brick wall and can't get a single win for, I don't know, 30 games, because you're going up against people that have played a lot longer. And for me, skill-based matchmaking, I got lucky because I actually quit Fortnite not too long before Season 2, and so when I came back, I got skill-based matchmaking in my favor because it reset, or at least that's what it seemed, because I got with my squad like 5 back-to-back wins or something crazy like that, and that was fun. But eventually we were like, yeah, this isn't even that difficult, and we kind of ate our words, I guess, because then the next few games we were just dying off spawn with 0 kills each, and that's a terrible transition. And if I chose to not play the game during season 1 after I'd already been matched up against super good players, when I came back I would have still been matched up against those super good players, and that's a point that other YouTubers brought up. But that is a little unfair, and that's why skill-based matchmaking doesn't work in any game. Like the COD games, those have been going downhill because of skill-based matchmaking. Apex Legends, when they brought out skill-based matchmaking, the game died off, basically. Like, I enjoyed Apex. I played it a lot when I first got my computer, and then they brought out skill-based matchmaking and the game wasn't fun anymore. And something that all the YouTubers touched on is, in pubs, I'd much rather go up against an assortment of players. Like, I think it was Random who talked about this, but I would rather go up against like 80 C tier players roughly, like 14 C, 80 B tier players, and then 5 A tier players, and then 1 S tier. So then if you're in the B tier, you'll be going up against mostly B tier players, which that means you're about average, which is about where most people are that are quitting the game. Not just casual players, but also the streamers that aren't necessarily super good. And that's why people can no longer make random pub videos, because they took out the fun of pubs. Because even I have tried to play random duos or squads and nobody wants to have a good time. I've been trying to film, just a little sneak peek for a video I'm trying to film. I've been trying to film Thanos voice trolling, where I have this application that modifies my voice to make me sound like Thanos, and I've been trying to film that video, but all people want to do is get wins. They don't care. Like, as soon as I start talking, everyone's just like, oh, giving him a mute. Where did the old Fortnite go? And that's exactly what skill-based matchmaking did. They made pubs into what arena should be. And Lachlan even mentioned that it took him 5 hours to film 1 challenge video in pubs. A challenge video in pubs should not take 5 hours, and he didn't even get that many kills. Just think about that. I remember the days when Lachlan would go into pubs, and Lachlan's a pretty good player. He's putting a lot of hours into the game, but he's a pretty good player, and he would always go for 10 kills. Where did that Fortnite go? And that's exactly, again, what skill-based matchmaking did. And I think that besides communication, skill-based matchmaking is the biggest problem with Fortnite right now for newer players. And I understand that. Like, I get why they want newer players to not go up against that S tier player on their first game, because that's not fun. And maybe you could do something where the first 5 matches or something, you go up against players that are just starting, and then after that, once you get the hang of the controls and you get more into the game, then you go into regular pubs. You could just do skill-based matchmaking at the beginning and then just fade out to regular pubs, because Also, for streamers, I never experienced this. I did stream at one point, but there are people that are trying to stream snipe. And if you don't know what that is by now, you should, but if you don't know what that is, it's where people try to get into the same game as their favorite streamer and kill them, basically. And with skill-based matchmaking, that's a lot easier to do now, because if you're good enough, you can get into the same skill level as someone like Ninja if he's playing pubs. And Ninja's a really good player, but because of how, we'll just call it a ladder, how the ladder works, like probably about 80% of players are in one skill level, and then 20% are just in the higher skill level. It's just really weird how it works, but it makes sense because there aren't as many people that are good at the game, so they have to add in more people that are close to good. And now 20% of players are in that match compared to it used to just be 100%. You could run into anyone, any game. And we saw that on update night. I remember back in the day, Lachlan was doing a solo match and he got killed by Muselk, which that's possible still because they're in the same skill level, but that just, it's not the same thing anymore. And if you were just playing solos, yeah, you could just run into just the biggest bots, or you could run into Booga. Like, you could just run into someone who's really good at the game. And they removed that with skill-based matchmaking. And maybe skill-based matchmaking wasn't bad at first. Everyone thought it was okay. And then, during Season 1, people started hating it for the obvious reason that pubs were turned into a worse version of Arena. I don't get why would they do that? Pubs are supposed to be public casual matches, but they removed that with skill-based matchmaking. And so if you kind of get my point on why they need to remove skill-based matchmaking, we'll move on. And the next, not necessarily, I don't know, the next thing that people have been discussing is controller aim assist. And what I think about this is console players that are playing on their TVs on a console, I think aim assist is like completely necessary. I don't know how they'd nerf it, but when you have a controller player on a computer with 240 FPS, that's a problem. That is a huge problem, because what they can then do is they can have that same aim assist, and now that controller players figured out how to build almost as good as PC players, they can just aimbot everyone. And that's why you're seeing all these keyboard and mouse players go over to Valorant, is because controller players are honestly taking over the game. And props to them, because they used to be laughed at, but now people hate controller players, which it's not their fault what Epic has done. Aim assist, I think it needs to be tweaked a little bit though. But like I said, if you're just on your Xbox on a TV sitting in your living room, I think aim assist is a good thing. But when you're on a computer just playing controller, I don't think that's right. And Fortnite has been kept alive by controller players because the majority of the players are on controller. But Fortnite has made so many people move over to computer, it's not even funny. And so people were playing on keyboard and mouse on their computer that they just got for Christmas or whatever, and then they're like, hey, aim assist and controller players can get 240 FPS. So then they just hook up their controller to their computer and rip keyboard and mouse lobbies. Because what they did is put all platforms together in the same lobbies in pubs. Why? Because now there's those kids that figured out, oh, I can edit and build pretty good on controller now. Now why don't I just add all that together, take aim assist, which for some reason Epic made even better, and yeah, now pretty much all the keyboard and mouse pros are quitting, compared to the World Cup, where I believe the statistic was only 2 controller players qualified. It was all keyboard and mouse players, and a keyboard and mouse player in a landslide beat everyone. Booga. It wasn't even close. He almost had double the points of the person in second place. And he's on keyboard and mouse. But if we had the World Cup again, I guarantee it'd be like 2 keyboard and mouse players qualified. Maybe more than that. Maybe it'd be split 50-50. But that's a lot different. Because, again, I think aim assist does need to be tweaked, and if you're a controller player and say that it doesn't, I think exactly what Kiwi said. I think you are a bit biased that if you are a controller player and you say aim assist doesn't need to be changed, then you're biased. And that's because aim assist, it used to be a crutch, I guess. It used to sort of help controller players, but now that controller players can do most of the things that keyboard or mouse players can do, it's an unfair tool at times. It's no longer a crutch. I'm trying to word this without saying it's overpowered, because I don't think it's overpowered. I think it just needs to be tweaked a little bit. Because if aim assist was fully taken away, I don't think that's fair either. But if Fortnite wants keyboard and mouse players to come back to Fortnite, or keyboard and mouse pros at least, because I don't have a huge problem with aim assist, but I can see why it needs to be fixed. If they want them to come back to Fortnite, they need to tweak aim assist, because it's not making the controller players feel good either, because people are constantly railing them because they have aim assist. And I don't think that's fair either, but it's just how it is. And I think what they need to do, in conclusion, talking about Epic Games, is they need to remove skill-based matchmaking, and that, in my opinion, would instantly turn pubs back to how they were. Content creators would be happy. And then they need to fix their servers, which I haven't really touched very much upon, but basically they need to fix their servers, because if you're on 60 ping, like Tfue, 30, 40 to 60 ping, the difference between someone at 0 and 60 ping is the person on 0 can have a minigun and hit you every other shot through your wall. Just think about how unfair that is, because the wall is there so that way you don't get hit, and if you're turbo building, then that shouldn't be possible. And they say that they've implemented a thing called a coin flip, where somebody at 60 ping should be able to take someone at 0 ping's wall, or somebody at 0 ping won't always be able to take someone at 60 ping's wall. But it doesn't work. It's just that simple. It doesn't work. And it's obvious. It's obvious that it doesn't work. And the main problem with Fortnite right now to me, again, they need to fix skill-based matchmaking. They need to fix their servers and fix their whole coin flip thing, and they need, in my opinion, to modify aim assist. And that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you. If you've made it this far, make sure to subscribe. If you enjoy my content, and make sure to subscribe to Lethal Fiction, the clan I'm in. We've been trying to put out some bangers for you guys. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.